Bonjour! Hello! Kamusta? I'm Keesha Reyes from BSHM2, and for today, I'll be demonstrating on how to make a rainbow cake. In order for us to make a rainbow cake, first we will be making the base of it, which is a butter cake. So the ingredients of the butter cake is butter, of course, baking powder as our leavening agent, vanilla as our it gives flavor and also a little bit of color to our batter, eggs and flour, which will serve as our structure, and also sugar as our sweetener, and for our liquid it will be milk. Okay, so in this batter, we will divide it into two and we will create cupcakes and a cake of it. The half batter of it will be for the rainbow cake and the half will be the cupcakes. So I'll be creating 3 flavors of cupcakes, and that will be chocolate Oreo, pandan, and also ube. So first thing is we will make the batter first. So first is you want to put your PPE before starting in making the batter or the cake. So I have here my face mask. And of course, make sure your hands are clean. And I'll be putting on my gloves. Alright, so let's start making the batter. So for you, starting off, you want to cream your butter and sugar first until the butter is pale. And I have here a mixer. You can use a hand mixer, electric mixer, but since I don't have those, I'll be using my stand mixer here. So I have to get the bowl first. So I'll be putting the butter first. Since our butter is in our bowl, so I want to lightly soften it out a bit. So I have here a paddle attachment for my mixer. And I'm just going to soften out this butter a little bit. So the setting of it should be slow. And slowly I am going to increase the speed. So I'm just going to scrape out the sides of our mixer, the sides of our bowl. Make sure everything is in the middle. I want to put all of the butter in the middle so that everything is going to be well incorporated later. Okay, so I'm going to add my sugar now. So I'm going to cream the two, the butter and sugar together in a low speed until all of it will combine together. And as you can see that the sugar and butter has been well incorporated. So I'm going to stop for now and I'm going to scrape the sides again. Okay, so I'm going to start to mix it all until it's going to be pale. I'm going to gradually increase the speed. So I'm in number 2, increasing to number 4. And I'm going to increase it to number 6. So this is a medium to high speed, and I'm going to wait until the butter has completely lightened, or it has this pale color. Alright, so after a couple of minutes of mixing, I can see that the butter has lightened. So let me show you. As you can see that here is the butter and sugar. As you can see that it actually really lightened its color. It's pale. It has this kind of whitish with a hint of yellowish color. So we have achieved it. So next is I'm going to add my eggs. Alright. I'm going to pack it in the mixer, and I'm going to add my eggs one by one. Alright, so I'm going to start the mixer in a low speed, adding my eggs. Adding my eggs one by one. First egg. Second egg. Third egg. At this point, you want to stop adding eggs first. I'm going to turn off this mixer, and I'm going to scrape it again. By this, it prevents it having lumps. Start the mixer in low speed. Fourth egg. Fifth. our last egg. And I'm also gonna add my vanilla. So this will give us a nice aroma to our cake. Alright, so while that is mixing, I'm going to take my flour here and my baking powder. I'm just going to mix it all together so that the baking powder has equally distributed with the flour. Alright, so I'm just going to scrape this off so we can add our dry and wet ingredients. Okay, so I'm just going to add our this dry ingredients of ours is, I'm going to divide it into 3 parts. So I'm going to put the first part first. So I'm going to start the mixer in a low speed again. We have here our milk. I'm going to divide this into 2 parts. And the first part is I'm going to add it to our batter. You want to add this gradually. Okay. And I'm going to scrape it again. So I'm going to add the second part of my flour mixture. Alright. So make sure you clean your area frequently. That's what we say, clean as you go. I'm going to add all of my milk gradually. And I'm going to stop the mixer again so I can scrape the sides. So in goes my last part of our dry ingredient. Starting it in a low speed. Alright, so I'm just going to scrape out all of the sides. As you can see, our batter here is very, very smooth. So I'm just going to scrape out and I'm just going to mix it for 1 minute for our final mix. And this is ready to divide it into 2. For our final mix. Alright? This is ready. Right. So here is our batter. As you can see, it's very smooth. It's pale and it's very smooth. Okay. So first is I'm going to measure the batter first. So I have here my weighing scale and my bowl. So I'm going to pour it all so I can measure it. So the weight of the batter is 1,854 grams. So that's a total of 1 kilo and 854 grams. So if you're going to divide this into 2, we will get 927 grams. So I'm going to divide this. So we need 927 grams for the cupcakes. So this batch is for our cupcakes that I'll be setting aside for now. So I'll set this aside. So I'm just going to clean my area first. So we're left here with our cake. I'm going to add hot water in this batch for our cakes. So hot water will make our cake moist. So I'm going to add it in my mixer again and mix. I'll be starting it into low speed and slowly increasing the speed. Now I have here 5 bowls. Since you're going to make a rainbow cake, I'll be having 5 colors. Alright, so since I have 5 bowls, I'll be dividing the batter into 5. So since the total of this is 927 plus the water. So I'm guessing that the weight of this is around 950. So if you're going to divide it into 5, approximately the batter for each bowl is going to be 200. So I'm going to divide it into Now I have 5 bowls of our batter. I have here 5 food colors that I'm going to use to color the batter. So I'm going to start with red. Next color is yellow. Next color, green. Green. Next is blue. Here is our blue. Next color is violet. Alright, so I have already completed all the colors. So I have my red, yellow, green, blue, and violet. So I'm just going to place spoons on it. Red, yellow, green, blue, and of course violet. So I'm just going to set this aside so I can prep for my pan. So I have here a 6x3 cake pan. And I have here some oil so I can grease the surface of my cake pan, and a pastry brush to brush the sides, the bottom, so our cake won't stick, so it can be easy to remove once it is cooked. I have here also the same diameter of my pan, 6-inch parchment paper that I'll be placing. Right. So, I'm going to apply the cake batter here, scooping it out one by one. Alright, so first I'm going to start with yellow. I'm going to take 1 spoonful of it. I'm going to place dollops of it one by one. Blue. Green. Purple. And I'm just going to repeat the steps. So I have filled it up into 3/4 of my cake pan. So I'm just going to set this aside so I can prepare for my cupcakes. I'm going to set aside this cake, and I have here 3 pans that I'm going to use to divide my batter. And I'm going to divide it into 3. Alright, so I divided it into 3. Now, I have here some ube flavoring. And I'm just going to take a teaspoon of it. Around 3-4 teaspoons. Just add it here. Then grab my rubber spatula and mix it all together. Alright, so our ube mixture is done. So I want to add a bit more flavor in this cupcake. So you want to think of something or an ingredient that can complement with your cupcake flavor. So as for me, I'll be adding bits of cheese. So our cupcake will be ube cheese flavor. So I'm going to add it here and just gently fold it in. So we're done with the first cupcake flavor. So I have here the second flavor, which is a pandan. And I'm going to take this and measure it. Alright, so I'd like to add some desiccated coconut as for an additional flavor. It complements with pandan, so the cupcake flavor will be buko pandan. Alright, so we're done for the second cupcake flavor. So for our last cupcake flavor is chocolate. So I have here some cocoa powder. So I'm just going to add it in our pan. And I'm just going to fold it in. So the cocoa that I'm using is actually alkalized one, not the regular kind of cocoa powder. The difference between the regular and the alkalized or the Dutch process cocoa powder is that the Dutch process or the alkalized cocoa powder has a much more darker color, and it has this chocolate flavor, a strong chocolate flavor that really stands out on your baked goods. So when you're making cakes or brownies, you want to use a alkalized or a Dutch processed type of cocoa so that you'll really have that chocolatey, strong chocolatey taste. And also it gives your baked products a more realistic color of the chocolate. So as you can see that my batter here is done, our chocolate batter. So for the additional flavor, I'm going to add some Oreos. So this is a combination of crushed and chunks of Oreos. I'm going to add it here. And just fold everything together. Alright, so our three flavors are done. I have my ube cheese cupcake, my buko pandan cupcake, and also my Oreo chocolate cupcake. So these are ready to be put on my cupcake liners. Alright, so I have here the three flavors of cupcakes and it's now ready to be transferred in our liners. So, since we are using improvised oven, you can fit a cupcake tray or a muffin tray on your pan. So, instead of using the paper liners, paper cupcake liners, we are going to use the paper cups since we don't need the cupcake trays. So it can stand alone compared to the, if you're going to use the paper liners, you need to have the cupcake trays to hold its shape. So as for this, I'm going to use it. Alright. And I have here my ice cream scooper so that the batter that I'm going to put is equal. Since my paper liners or paper cups are in the size of 2 ounce, I'm going to use a 2 ounce ice cream scooper. So I'm going to add the ube first. Alright, so I need 5 in 1 flavor. Alright, so next I'm going to have is my buko pandan. Alright, so we're done with our buko pandan. Alright, for our last cupcake flavor, I'm going to transfer the chocolate Oreo. Gloves so we can add our toppings for your cupcakes. For our ube, I'm going to put some cheese. For our pandan, we're going to add some desiccated coconut. Our Oreo cookies, Oreo chocolate cupcake, and going to add some chunks of Oreo. Alright, and we're done with our cupcakes and also cake. So I'm just going to set up our improvised oven, and we're ready to bake this. Alright, so I have here my improvised oven, my butane stove, and my butane gas. So I'm just going to put it inside. Just going to wait this until it reaches the temperature of 350 degrees. So, I'm going to turn off the stove. And let's do a toothpick test. As you can see, alright, it's cooked. So I have cooked this for almost 1 hour and 20 minutes. So it took so long to cook. So I'm just going to remove it. It's indeed hot. So I'm just going to let this cool for a couple of minutes. So my cupcakes are cooked. My cake is done as well. So I'm just going to set this aside. I'm going to use this 7x2 cake pan as a stand and just put all of my cupcakes. Alright, so this is ready. And same thing as what I did, I've added my oven thermometer, close the lid, and I'm just going to open the fire, medium to high heat, and wait until the temperature reaches up to 350 degrees. Alright, so I can see that the thermometer has reached 250 degrees. So I'm just going to remove the lid quickly and the thermometer. And place this, careful. And close the lid quickly. And I'm going to wait for it to cook around 20 to 25 minutes. Alright, so I can see here that the top of the cupcakes has already been browned. So I'm going to do is a toothpick test. So I have here a wooden stick so we can see if it's already cooked. So I have here a skewer. I'm going to just pick it. The pandan is done. Ube is done. And also chocolate. So our first batch of cupcakes is already cooked. So I'm just going to remove it. By the way, I've already turned off the heat. So I'll just remove the cupcakes from the pan.